Conspiracy or not, strategize and plot. Buy back your block, real estate and stocks. Stack what you got, hold down your spot. Strike while you hot and think the man up top. Conspiracy or not, strategize and plot. Buy back your block, real estate and stocks. Stack what you got, hold down your spot. Strike while you hot and think the man up top. Conspiracy or not, strategize and plot. Buy back your block, real estate and stocks. Stack what you got, hold down your spot. Strike while you hot and think the man up top. Conspiracy or not, strategize and plot. Buy back your block, real estate and stocks. Stack what you got, hold down your spot. Strike while you hot and think the man up top. Conspiracy or not.
Welcome to the Wealth Mindset with Garnier. Listen, my goal is simple: to help you walk in wealth, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. To take the things that God has already given you and use those to create a life of purpose, so that wealth is more than just what you acquire. Wealth is who you become. You are the wealth. It's not your investments. It's not your real estate. It's not your business. It's you. And before you have any of those things, you have a unique and specific set of talents, abilities, gifts, ideas, habits, disciplines, and inclinations that form the basis of everything that you do in this world. And once you tap into that, you start your wealth creation journey. Now, the wealth mindset. In today's world, people are always talking about wealth. They're talking about riches. They're talking about finances. But they talk about it in a way that's tangible. They talk about wealth in a way that is something that you need to possess, something that you need to hold. But in my mind, wealth is a mindset. You know, a lot of times I talk about the fact that over 80% of lottery winners wind up going broke. And the question is, how can that be? How can it be that when you win more money than anybody can imagine, that's not enough to sustain you? And the answer to that is it has nothing to do with the money. Wealth is not about money. Wealth is about a mindset. And when you get the riches, when you get the resources without the wisdom, you're going to waste the riches. If you accumulate everything that your heart desires, but your mind is not ready to handle that level of wealth, you're going to waste the wealth. And so it is imperative not only that we are out in this world seeking financial riches, seeking tangible things, we need to be seeking a wealth mindset. So what is a wealth mindset? Well, that's simple. It is a way that you have to think to attract wealth in your life. It is a way that you have to become in order to sustain wealth in your life. And a wealth mindset requires three things. The first thing that it requires is sacrifice. If you want to accumulate wealth in your life, you're going to have to be willing to sacrifice something. You're going to have to be willing to have to give something up, right? Because the life that you have today has to be sacrificed for the life that you want tomorrow. You have to be willing to give things up, right? When I played sports in the summertime, all my friends would be outside having a good time playing video games. But I was trying to become a scholarship athlete. So what did I have to do? I had to work out. I had to sacrifice my summers. I had to sacrifice fun with my friends for a bigger purpose, right? And if you want something in life that you do not have, you're going to have to give something up. Sometimes you're going to have to wake up early and sacrifice sleep. Sometimes you're going to have to isolate yourself from people and sacrifice friends, right? Sometimes you are going to have to go the extra mile and do extra work and sacrifice fun. But the fact of the matter is, you are going to have to sacrifice something. You're going to have to give something up, and you have to go into life understanding that you got to sacrifice. If you want to accumulate wealth in your life, you are going to have to sacrifice. You are going to have to give things up. You are going to have to do without. But the benefit of that is on the other end. So if you're not willing to sacrifice, you're not going to achieve wealth. You're not going to obtain wealth. You have to be willing to give something up. That's a universal law. In order to get something, you're going to have to give something up. Most people don't want to sacrifice. They want to get the $1 million business and still be able to go out and party every weekend, right? They want to achieve this level of status, but still living like this. It doesn't work like that. So the first part of a wealth mindset is sacrifice. Now, once you've decided that you're willing to give things up, that you're willing to sacrifice, right? The next part of a wealth mindset is you got to be willing to risk something. You got to be willing to give something up. You got to be willing to take a chance. You got to be willing to come out of the comfort zone. You got to be able to take a risk. Comfort zones are exactly what they sound like. They're comfortable, right? They feel good. There is no threat. There is no risk. But comfort zones are immobile. You don't ascend. You don't go up. You don't achieve anything in a comfort zone. You just stay there stagnant and safe. And if you want to accumulate wealth in your life, you can't be safe. You're going to have to give something up. You have to be able to sacrifice. And you have to be willing to take a risk. You got to step out on faith sometimes. Sometimes you got to take that leap. Sometimes that risk is just you getting out of what is comfortable to you in your environment. Sometimes that risk is money and you got to bet on yourself, or you have to take a financial risk, right? Sometimes that risk is going up to somebody and introducing yourself without the fear of it being embarrassed, right? Sometimes you are going to have to step out of that comfort zone and take a risk. Do something that is non-characteristic. Do something that is outside of your nature to get to the next level in life. You got to be willing to take a risk. That's the only way it's going to work. There is no blueprint. Nobody ever did it before. Not the way you're trying to do it. And so the only way you're going to get it done is you have to take a risk. If you want a wealth mindset, you're going to have to sacrifice something. You're going to have to risk something. And lastly, you're going to have to wait for something. You got to have patience. See, we live in this microwave society where everybody wants everything right now. Everybody's trying to get to the bag. But the bag is a short-term mindset. I say all the time, the bag is nothing but a scheme to get to the fruit without any ownership in the tree. Because once the bag runs out, you got to go and get another one and another one. And so I say, don't get the bag, produce the tree. You got to be patient. You got to wait for something. You have to let things run their natural course. See, it's easy to take food, take it out the wrapper, pop it in the microwave, put it in there for 3 minutes, and you have a cooked meal. But it don't taste the same. The nutrients don't feed your body the same. It does not go down your palate the same way. Yeah, you have a cooked meal, but it's not the same. It's not the same as taking the ingredients and cutting them up and taking the season and merging and fusing all of that stuff together and putting it in the oven or putting it in a pot and allowing the heat to bubble it and to cook it and to allow it to merge itself, to allow it to heat until you have a cooked meal. And that home cooked meal is always satisfying because you were patient. You waited for it. And in life, you're doing all of this stuff. You're trying to grow this amazing business. You were trying to achieve this amazing goal. You're going to have some patience. You're going to have to wait for something. You have to let it run its due course. You have to let it marinate. And when it's done, it's going to satisfy you and your family for life. You got to be willing to wait for something. You got to have patience. You never see a tree grow. And then one day you look up and there's a tree. But every day, centimeter by centimeter, millimeter by millimeter, inch by inch, it is expanding. It is growing. It is taking stake of its claim in the world until one day you have a tree that produces fruit that can feed you and your family forever. But you have to be patient. That's the wealth mindset. Sacrifice, risk, and patience. You got to give up something. You got to risk something. And you got to wait for something. Let's get it. Wealth mindset.